Hello, welcome to What We May Be Lesson 4. Today we're going to talk about mapping that internal realm. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson so far. I know a while back you did some kinesthetic, visionary, taste kinds of evocations. Well, I realized we didn't do an auditory evocation, so I thought I would include that today as well. So at the end I'm going to include a short auditory exercise so that you can practice listening. That's a little trickier to do on video camera, but I wanted to include it at the end for those who are interested because I realized I missed a sense. Today, however, I want to begin by reading you a brief story about a passenger on a bus because the message is very important. And we're, again, taking this from our book, What We May Be, by Piero Ferrucci, Philosophy and the Art of Living. A bus passenger conforms to the official rule that he must hold his bus ticket at all times available for inspection. Leaving the bus, he goes on a shopping trip. Hours later, while juggling bulky packages, wallet, pocket change, he realizes he has continuously held that bus ticket available for inspection. What psychological mechanism was responsible for this exercise in futility? Yeah, what was that all about? And how often do you do a similar thing yourself? Think about how ingenious he had to be to hang on to that bus ticket while he was doing all those other things. And what might you be hanging on to that you no longer need? We still have fears when there's no reason to be afraid. We cling to outdated resentments. We're depressed, sometimes without a cause, or at least an apparent one. We hang on to our ticket long after we have left the bus. And when the patterns that force us to use these expenditures of energy are exposed, they are de-energized and often disappear, as in the example with the ticket. As soon as he realized, oh, why am I carrying this ticket around? He just didn't need to do that anymore. And so he knew creative tendencies can take the place. Now this kind of work is much easier with a guide, the help of a guide, because old patterns have a tendency to keep coming up over and over and over again. And working with other people helps you to be accountable and helps that denial mechanism or hidden mechanism within you to keep things from hiding, I guess. And so we did free drawing in our last lesson as one way to help yourself be guided out of something that might be hidden or wanting to be revealed, or a bus ticket that you've been hanging on to far too long. I would encourage you to find a safe person to share this course with if you feel so called, because that third-party perspective, per se, I say third-party because there's many parties already in our head, can be very helpful at offering, never analyzing or assuming, and they're not always correct, but offering points of view which may be helpful to you. It's important to note that not just one free drawing or one session with a counselor or guide, not one single conversation with a person is going to bring it all to you. Sometimes we're working at this as an evolution in little parts and pieces, and the clarity comes sometimes over time. And so I would encourage you to be very patient and gentle with yourself as you're exploring that inner map. And speaking of maps, this is what we want to cover, main point today. I want to talk about Assagioli, the founder of transpersonal psychology, drew up something he called an egg diagram. I'm going to show that to you here. This is the egg diagram. And as you can see, they're numbered 1, 2, and 3. Hopefully you can see that, okay? 4, 5, 6, and 7. And those are the different parts of your brain or different parts of your map. And as you may or may not be able to read those there, I'll read them to you. Number 1, which is that lower section of the egg, is your lower unconscious. The middle part of the egg is your middle unconscious, and the higher part of the egg is your superconscious or higher consciousness. Now, 4, this little circle in the middle of the egg, so we've got lower, middle, higher. This little section right here in the middle, that's your everyday, day-to-day awareness. That is your I'm living, breathing, walking around, field of consciousness, it's called. Within the middle of that field of consciousness is number 5, which is your individual self or I. Here the core of me. And then way up here at the top, number 6, is your higher self, So the best of what you can be, many folks in spiritual traditions believe that is the part that's connected to everybody else in the sort of the unified field. And if you follow the chakra system, that would be like the eighth chakra that would connect above. And then 7, the collective unconscious. The collective unconscious, the best way I've been able to describe that is like imagine an ocean. And that would be the collective unconscious. And I would be a wave and you would be a wave. And so we're all individual waves, but we all have access. We all come from, we all source from that collective conscious where everything lies. And so archetypal energies and stories stored like in the ocean are relevant to all of us because they're the same themes. Have you ever watched a movie and you feel like, gosh, I've seen this movie before? And it's because you did, because 4 years ago somebody made a movie with a very similar plot, and it's a different movie, but it has the same kind of feel. The hero is going to get the bad guy and stuff's going to blow up. And I mean, you just get a sense of there's a story and there's a pattern to that story. Well, that's what I'm talking when we say archetypal. And so within the ocean of consciousness, collective unconsciousness, we all share archetypal journeys, no matter, or stories, no matter where we source from. And there are also stories we don't share. We have them as individual waves. So both of those are true. So that is today's beginning map of the unconscious. So you can start to get a feel for what that inner brain looks like. Next week, we're going to go into something called the star diagram, where we're going to look at that middle part of the egg, and we're going to look at just what's going on in your head with the different elements, sensation, feeling, will, intuition, and we call it the star diagram because your consciousness tends to bounce around. But we'll get into detail about that next time. To wrap up today, I wanted to share, I promised, auditory evocation for those of you who would like to do a little more experimenting with that. And for those of you who aren't, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week and create a great week. All right, here's the auditory. Evocation of imaginary sounds is more difficult than evocation of perceptions associated with other senses, yet that increases our keenness. So this might be for folks who had a good time with those other evocations and want to take it to the next level, because it is a little tougher to hear things. So I wanted to tell you a success story. After performing the exercise without success for 15 days, that's good diligence there, a 40-year-old man came to see me to tell me about his great wonder. He awakened one morning and thought he had been dreaming of the sound of bells. He then realized that the sound of bells was real and coming from a church near his home. His astonishment was due to the fact that he's hearing the sound for the first time since he began living there. So he'd lived there the whole time, but he just didn't notice that the church bells went off every morning. I wonder how many things you're not noticing in your day-to-day life. You know, we do filter sounds out as a survival mechanism. That's part of what we do. All right, here we go. Close your eyes and listen to these imaginary sounds. A voice calling your name. The noise of traffic. The sound of rain. People at a party. Waves breaking on the shore. Children playing. A squeaking door. A gong very gradually dying away to silence. Have fun. Don't forget to have fun. Create a great week.